Good afternoon to you all. Savva here from Savva Talks Football. Hope you are all well on this miserable day. It looks sunny, but this here, if you can see where I can point there, that's a white wall. That's not sun. So good afternoon to you all. Lots happening. England are through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Harry Kane scoring a goal. Great goal it was as well. Phil Foden with a couple of assists. Jude Bellingham looking excellent. And also Bukayo Saka getting his third goal of the tournament. So great for England through to the quarterfinals in what will be, for me, the biggest of the tests so far. I think so far we've beaten everyone we should beat. And the test comes against France. Moving on to still the World Cup, but two Tottenham players. It's, of course, South Korea versus Brazil today. And from a Spurs perspective, it's Richarlison versus Heung-min Son. Who are you going for? Have you got a particular one of those two countries you like? Are you just going for the Spurs player you like? Is it a foregone conclusion that Brazil will win? One of the original World Cup heavyweights versus South Korea, who are the pride of Asian football. So what are we saying? I've got to go for Brazil. I feel, apart from Sonny, I think Brazil have just got too much. I think they have too much for Heung-min Son and his guys. But anyway, I want to talk today. My daily thought is about Paratici. It's all the news. It's what's going on at Tottenham at the moment. And for me, it's not about is he guilty. That will be played out in court. I have no doubt. Also, if you want to add any comments, this is live. Unlike most of my daily thoughts, this is live. So any comments you want to chuck in, you want them read out, you want to join in the conversation, then please just put your comments in and we can go through it. We'll go live for half an hour. We'll answer any football questions. Doesn't just have to be about Paratici. So get any questions, any thoughts in. So for me, it's not so much about whether he's guilty or not. We're going to find that out in due course. And it looks like there is no smoke without fire. But as always, people are found innocent all the time. So my question to you and the topic of discussion today is, how does that affect Tottenham in the grand scheme of things, and in particular two people? So if we look at the three most important cogs in the Tottenham wheel, is Daniel Levy, Antonio Conte, and Fabio Paratici, who all have got their own important roles. And as I said last night on my show, the Spurs Review, for me, they are the tripod, right? They are the little tripod there. And it all depends on how strong each one of these legs are as to how well Tottenham move forward as a club. Well, at the moment, if we look at that tripod, you've got a chairman that 50% of the fan base do not like and want him out, and 50% think he's done amazing things for Tottenham. Then you look at the manager. Again, you've got a manager where lots of fans love him. They think he's done an amazing job. And then you've got other fans that can acknowledge he's done a good job, but just do not like the style of play that comes with Conte ball. On top of that, you've got a manager that hasn't signed up. He's not signed up past June or end of May, whenever it may be. He's not signed up. Whether or not that contract's being put in front of him, whether or not those discussions are going on, we don't know the ins and outs. But essentially, that's the second of your two legs in the tripod, which is a bit ropey. Now, you come to the weakest leg in the tripod. You come to Fabio Paratici, who now looks like he's going to be indicted for all of these financial wrongdoings. So where does that leave us? First of all, it leaves us with that tripod looking very unsteady. And the easiest way I can describe it is as a tripod. It leaves Spurs once again in a cloud of uncertainty, should we say. And it's always been this way since I supported Spurs. In one guise or another, it's always been this kind of grey cloud hanging over what could be an amazing football club. And of course, we are an amazing football club and we all support Spurs, but there's always something going on. And at the moment, there's no certainty with all three of those that I mentioned. The only certainty, to be fair, would be Levy. And that's because he owns the club and it's up to him if he wants to sell it, him and Joe Lewis. So, how does it affect that? Let's have a look let's look at this from a Daniel Levy perspective. Forget whether you like him or you hate him or whatever. Talking about hating him, here he is. Here's the main man, the Levy Out fan club, the founder, the owner, the CEO, Mr. Brian Daigle. Big up to yourself. Big up to Sue, who's in the chat as well. Big up to Luann. Big up to Phil P, always with the woohoo. Daryl Denton's in the house. Guys, we are live. If anyone wants to put in the comments, please do. Steve D, welcome. Let's look at this from a Daniel Levy perspective. And again, forget whether you like him, forget whether you think he's doing a good job, forget all of that for the purpose of this debate. If you were Daniel Levy, is it tenable to keep Paratici? Now, first and foremost, you have to look at it in two ways. If he's found innocent, then absolutely, right? It's tenable. You keep Paratici. He's your guy. You've brought him in. You've trusted him, and he goes on to run the club. Brian Daigle, I'm just checking my WhatsApp. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, 1 second, my man. I'll send you an invite if you wanna come and join in. Bear with me. The second part of this is if he's found guilty, how does that affect our transfer window? And when does he pull the trigger? When does Levy pull the trigger? Because Daniel Levy, for all of his wrongdoings, isn't going to want to be embroiled, is he, in one of his main employees, the guy he's brought in to run the football club, essentially for all on-field matters. We're not talking about just transfers. And I think as fans, we need to remember that. Sorry, Brian, I'm just trying to get you this link. Check your WhatsApp, Brian. That should be with you now if you want to join now, brother. He's not going to want to be associated to that, is he? He's not going to want Spurs to be connected in any way, shape, or form with any kind of financial wrongdoing. This is a guy that isn't frivolous with money. Right? This is a guy that does do everything above board. So it's a real interesting one as to what does he do? Does he stay loyal to his guy? Does he get rid of him? Does he get rid of him anyway? Does he want to be embroiled through the court case? Now, the court case essentially isn't Tottenham Hotspur, but we don't know what might be uncovered, right? There's lots of talks now that apparently some of the deals that were involving Romero and Kulusevski might not be above board. Now, we don't know. Of course, we don't know. It's all guesswork, isn't it? But if that's the case, if that is the case, then he can't have him at the club, can he? If that's the case, then the ramification is who looks after transfers? Daniel Levy does. Then we're back to square one, aren't we? We're back to Jed Spence territory. So it's a really, really interesting one for me. I get K-Show. Listen, I agree with you. I listen, these people get offered these things all the time. But again, sometimes it's perception versus reality, right? Does Daniel Levy, with the brand he's building, with the stadium, naming rights, with his ties with the NFL, his ties with DAZN and the boxing, his ties with Lady Gaga and, Guns N' Roses and all these people, do they want to be associated with a club that are associated with these dodgy dealings? So it does bring a lot of difficult questions. Let's have just a quick look. Afternoon to you as well, Louis. Hope you're well, my man. Big up Mr. Wayne Holland in the house. And big up to Mr. Brian Daigle. Here he is.
Big up, people. How are we doing?
How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Just a bit crazy my end at the moment, as you know, but all is good. And we haven't been able to stream for a while, so I am just relaxing this afternoon. So I thought, do you know what? Let's come and spend some time with Savva and everyone.
Superb. And this is the guy that keeps leaving our Friday show, people. I mean, he asked me to set up a show and then just ditches me. What can you do? Listen, I know you've got stuff going on, and I'll WhatsApp you afterwards. I've got some stuff going on I'll tell you about.
No worries.
Look, we're talking today, and Brian, we're gonna put aside our hate for Daniel Levy for the purpose of this show. In your opinion, this whole Paratici situation, whether he's innocent or not, it's not a good look for Tottenham Hotspur right now, is it?
No, it's not a good look for any club. And I heard you talking about it just before about does he stick by him? Does he do this? Does he do that? You've just got to look with Daniel Levy and what he did with Harry Redknapp. It was in the court. court situation, and he did stand by him. So you would think, especially with the lengths that he went to get this guy, that he would do the same. But obviously, these implications, from what I'm understanding, are a lot more severe than Harry Redknapp and his tax accounts.
Yeah. Well, that's isn't it? I think with this, look, we don't know what's going on, right? But we just know. I think there's something like 42 people involved in one way or another. That's a huge ring, right? That's a huge ring of people, and the noises coming out are that fingers are being firmly pointed at one Don Paratici. Now, is this the fall guy? Is this the guy that he's not there anymore? Brilliant, throw him under the bus. Or is he the mastermind of all this manipulation and financial irregularity?
You know what? It's very, very, like you said, when there's 42 people in this and you've got one person that's having his finger, or all the fingers firmly pointed at him, it's very easy to all gang up on one person, isn't it? If you keep your story straight. But I don't think there's smoke without fire. And then we started seeing these things. Like it for me, it's been a very, very long time since Spurs were dealing with player plus cash deals. And all of a sudden, these started appearing since Paratici. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. That's the way he deals. And I understand it. Some people still do the old school. I remember that was quite a common thing. Growing up, that wasn't even sniffed at. Whereas now it's obviously, what's going? And then you look at the deal, Lamella, who would have been worth a good chunk of change and money for Brian Hill, who let's say it's not exactly a set the world alight signing. It's worrying. It's worrying, and it's just a big up Stevie D and big up everyone in the chat. So yeah, it is a bit concerning, but we're going to have to see where this goes. But like you said, it really, really is not a good look going into a transfer window, is it?
No, I mean, it's not. And do you know what? I mean, as Sean was saying to me yesterday, I think when Spurs fans look at Paratici, we all associate him with transfers, right? Because he's the director of football. But there's so much more to the role of director of football than just the transfers. So what does this mean for, does Daniel Levy, look, we know he can be ruthless if he needs to be. We've seen he sacked one of the greatest managers of all time 6 days before a cup final. So he's got no problem in sacking people. If you were Levy, I know that would be your worst nightmare.
What a horrible thought.
Yeah. If you were Levy, would you be thinking about a succession plan right now? Because I can't imagine this is going to be something that's resolved in the next couple of weeks. I can't imagine this is going to be a go to court 3 or 4 days, bish bash boss, everyone's innocent.
Yeah, I mean, the way you got to look at this as well, this is Italian football has been plighted by corruption, hasn't it? And Juventus, we all know what happened to them a few years ago as well. So the mud kind of sticks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That doesn't help this situation anymore. The fact that it's in Italy, if this had been in a different country, maybe it might have been handled a different way, or it wouldn't be so gun ho everywhere at the moment and all this talk. Terry Venables as HMQ just said, there's another one. It's rife with us as well. Obviously that was under Scholar and partly Sugar. If I was that man, I won't say his name. If I was that man and I had big up Wayne brother, if I had to start thinking, you'd think on the business side of things, he would be thinking of a contingency plan. But then when you look at it, Savva, do you start thinking, right, I've hired these directors of football and they haven't worked out for one way or the other, whether it be Paul Mitchell that I didn't listen to, Baldini, who was just useless, Arneson, who could have been a great one, but then obviously left for Chelsea, Kamoli, again, weren't the best. And now Paratici. Where do you go? Like, these directors of football used to be growing on trees. They seem to be very few and far between now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it all depends what you want to pay. And look, most of the issues going down the years, from what I remember, whenever we've been in discussions with directors of football, has been they want control. Like directors of football want to direct football, right? They want to be in complete control, right? Levy, as we know, doesn't quite like to let go of that kind of power, does he? So And we've even seen it in this last window. You know, the whole Jed Spence affair. Now, yes, it was just one young player, but that for me showed everybody that he's not let go of the reins. It showed that he is still completely in control, which most of us thought it was going to be, right? We didn't expect Paratici. So if Paratici does go, I think he will need to. I'll be honest, Brian. I think he will need to, because I can't see now people don't want to deal with Levy as it is.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have, right, I've got to deal with Levy and Paratici that's being dragged through all these indictments.
Yeah.
Are we going to become untenable to do business with as a club?
That's one way. But you know, the one way I've been looking at this as well, Savva, which is more concerning for me than the recruitment, so to speak, this window or coming windows, is he came in and you started to see it this season. He's trying to change the whole stuff at the Hotspur way, the scouting networks, and all the things that he does. He's setting a blueprint and setting a structure to change this. I can't remember to say this DNA and change this mentality and change all these buzzwords. And whether you like him or not, away from transfers, he has been trying to do this. He's broken things down, made sure that it's not all on one guy. He's delegated so people skilled at that job can stick to that part of the job and not have to branch into this. And if he goes, do we then just say, right, let's throw that away and go back to basics, which is the more concerning thing for me than someone coming in with recruit, because the recruitment, we said we're going to stay. We know what recruitment is. We know what happens. We know it's going to take a very, very long time to change. But the one thing I was starting to like with Paratici is he was trying to change stuff at the club. He was starting to say, this does not work. This is fundamentally wrong. We're going to do this, this, and this. And I was excited to see that part. But now, who knows?
I mean, the thing is as well, if we chuck it just quickly, Wayne, listen, agreed, you know, in this country, but let's be really honest, what is happening is not happening in England. What is happening is taking place in Italy. And so look, I agree with you, innocent until proven guilty, but sometimes, and this is the horrible world we live in, sometimes just being associated with this is enough to ruin your career. Look at the number of players down the years that have been accused of rape, for example.
Yeah.
Then they've been proven innocent after their career has completely been ruined. If you look at a different scenario, but like, was it Sam Vokes? Not Sam Vokes. Who's the striker that?
Oh, that guy, Chad Evans.
Chad Evans. Yeah. I mean, you look at that. It turned out that he was innocent, and his career has gone from being an international player playing in the Premier League to now knocking about in League Two, which I'm not knocking that, but for him, you know. So look, let's look at this another way as well. You've also now got to drag Conte into this, because you've got a manager there that hasn't signed a contract. This isn't anything about what I think of his football. This is fact, right? He has not signed a contract yet. We don't know if one's been put in front of him, but no contract is signed. Therefore, it's 50-50 whether he's going to be our manager next season. He was bought here by Paratici. If Paratici has to be sacked or Paratici's found guilty, does that put a nail in the coffin for Conte? Could that affect his decision, Brian?
Well, but again, it's all unwanted speculation and rumours and crap coming out of Tottenham Hotspur, or coming not out of Tottenham, but happening around Tottenham Hotspur. Just as transfers are about to get heated up and it's like, right, let's strengthen the team. Let's see what we can do. Once again, these skeletons are coming out of closets and causing a bit of mayhem. Listen, I want Conte to sign. I want Conte to stay as long as he can. I know your views are different, which is obviously everyone is entitled. Listen, everyone is completely entitled.
Let me just say, I'm nonplussed about it, right? I'm not like an avid. Oh my god! I just don't. I don't really care. And what I was saying on the show last night was, I just feel Conte is the right manager, but for a different club, because I feel that under these owners, we're going to have exactly the same thing we've had with everybody else. So that
I agree with when it comes to obviously what Conte's going to get with the owners and what he's had before. It's not good, is it? I mean, this contract thing, it's the biggest cat and mouse game you've ever seen recently in our history. It's Conte wants to sign, apparently, but he wants assurances,
Yeah.
and Levy wants him to sign before he gives him the backing. It's just, listen, and I have to say, if there's one man in this power struggle that has got the right to Barca, it's Antonio Conte, because we've seen it before. It's just
But
not good, is it?
we've also seen that Levy. Look, listen, and again, I'm taking all my hats off as to who I like and who I don't. Daniel Levy is in charge, and we've seen Daniel Levy do so many silly things over the year that I don't think he's the type of character that's going to sit there and go, "Oh God, I really can't lose Conte. What will the fans think?" I think he is that egotistical, and I think he is that powerful that he thinks, "All right, Conte doesn't sign. We'll get someone else." I don't think that's a. I'm not agreeing with that. I just think that's him, right? So how does this power struggle end? And does the Paratici part just push Conte that little bit more towards the door rather than to the pen and paper?
Yeah, I believe it will. I believe it will, because unless he gets another director in football in, or Conte tells Levy, that's it. If he's gone, I want 100%, 100%. What's it called? Power or power of authority to make these signings.
Mm.
Then I don't want anything to, because this, at least he's got that buffer with Paratici, and I don't know if there's another director of football that Conte's worked with that will say, right, get him if he's available, or if he even come. To do this, because we see what Conte's like. We've seen. If you're asking me, if Paratici, if we just got the breaking news now, Paratici leaves Tottenham or is sacked, whatever way, do I think this puts Antonio Conte closer towards the pen and paper or the door? I'm sorry, but I'm going for the door.
Right, and this is the problem again, and this is what I say for the purposes of these conversations. I always remove who I like, who we don't like, all the history. I'm looking at this scenario right now. I don't know if you heard my analogy about the tripod, but it just feels at the moment that those three main pillars at the club, it doesn't feel very steady. And this is why when people keep telling me we're going in the right direction, we've got the director of football, we've got the world-class manager, the stadium, something for me still feels like that tripod's going to fall over at any minute.
Yeah, you say that. I've been saying people have been taking the stabilizers off the kid's bike. It's like it was going along nice and easy, and then your mum or dad takes those stabilizers off, and you start running down that path, and you can hardly keep your balance. Same analogy, really, isn't it? But yeah, it's the same outcome, I believe, and we're going to have to again wait and see. But again, and I don't know how only at this football club, every transfer window, or every time that things are about to happen, something comes out. And I'm not saying that it's it's just media, and obviously this thing with Paratici. It just every single time we think we're in a ascending position or about to be, and this is the window, and this is where we make an impact, and this is where it's going to happen. Watch what we've been doing. It's all been building for this moment, and then wallop, we just get kneecapped.
It is, and this is the thing. And I know a lot of the younger fans won't have seen as much stuff as we've seen. I'm sure there's older fans than us that have seen more than we've seen. But this is why I struggle to get really on board with what's happening at Spurs, because it just feels like something is going to be pulled from underneath us. Whether that's a Harry Kane not signing a contract, whether that's a Conte walking away and exposing Levy for what we know he is, whether that's Paratici being found guilty of all these allegations. Something doesn't feel right, and as you said, it's just coming at the worst time. It's coming at a time where we need signings. So do you think that what's happened in the last couple of weeks with the Paratici news is going to affect the January window, or do you think that the deals are already lined up and done, and Spurs are organised for once?
Well, the good thing is, I don't obviously, Savva, you're not on Twitter, but Lily White Rose tweeted something that I had the joy in retweeting. Is Tottenham signed an official bed sponsor So there's more money coming into the club. We've signed an official bed sponsorship with Duxiana. So that's now the toiletries, the beds and the paints. And
The
look at
paint's
that.
good, mate.
And look at that. There's a three skyscrapers going up very soon. They're going to need beds. They're going to need paint. They're going to need fucking toiletries. What a shock. But yes.
Even then, Brian, what makes me laugh is, and again, look, we're just football fans, right? And it's all reports, and we read what we want to read into it. We don't read what we don't want to read into it. But again, all the players we seem to be linked heavily with, again, are not in the positions we need, right? It feels like, again, we want more central midfielders. We want more wingers. It's like, I just can't ever see. Listen, I'm a fussy bastard, right? I am, right? But I feel like we deserve more as fans now. But I just want to get to a window and go, do you know what? I'm confident. I see what we're doing. I like this. I get the plan. And I can't see it again. I feel like we're going to get to the end of January and it's going to be another one of them Brian Daigle specials where you've promised everyone that you won't rant until the window closes. And then you lose your mind.
Well, there's every chance. I mean, come January, I've decided January I'm going silent. I'm going silent. I'm not going silent as in silent. I'll be about. Trust me, I'll be about. But I'm waiting until February the 1st, where there's no turning back. There's no me going absolutely crazy on streams, and then 2 days before a window, he pulls out Bentancur and Kulusevski. So my lips are going to stay quiet until February the 1st. February the 1st, I'm going to have a field day. Shouldn't go the way I think it is. But the thing is,
I'll talk through it. I'm that confident. I know what we'll do. We will sign a Malinowski and a Kessie or a Weston McKennie, and it will completely paper over again what we actually needed. And fans will go, "Oh no, but we're building."
We're building a midfield. We're going to play a 0-11-0. That's our new formation. But no, I think it's going to be Kulusevski. We're going to announce Kulusevski aside, and this fan base will go crazy because we've signed a player that we're legally obliged to sign should he play a certain amount of games or we get top 4. And they'll go, yes, now that's official. Yes, it's all done. Well, that was going to get done. Malinowski, I think, is going to get done. But the great thing is, it came out the last couple of days. Spurs were dead in for Gvardiol, but thought he was too expensive. And today, the brand new word to add to your dictionary, everyone, is today we are pressing. We are pressing for Gvardiol. That's the new buzzword. That, you know how people have those keys for this transfer is going to happen most likely, whatever. I'm going to be doing that on monitor the situation, registered inquiries, all of them. There's going to be a key.
Let me ask the chat. In the chat, just put one word in the comment section for the words you've heard with Spurs. Now, what I mean by that is Spurs are linked. We're monitoring. We're pressing. We're inquiring. How many of you seen over the years of Spurs linked? What's the buzzword you've heard? Mine is definitely inquiries FC that you said, Brian. I love that.
Monitoring the situation Albion is my personal favourite.
Monitoring. What I love is this. You think about it. Spurs are monitoring the situation with any player. But I can tell you the situation, Spurs. The situation is pay the money the club want.
Yeah.
And you get the player. There's no monitoring about it. But mate, listen, it's a tough one, right? Look, we've got 6 months between now and the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
6 months. In that 6 months, we could either be sitting very pretty back in the Champions League again. We signed a few defenders. Conte signed a contract. Kane signed a contract. Paratici's found innocent. All is great at Spurs, right?
Yeah.
We go into the summer thinking, one or two top players, we're going to win a league title, right?
Yeah.
Or taking it to the extreme. Or we could be sitting here in 6 months going, well, Conte's walked out the door. Harry Kane's not signing a new contract, right? Paratici's in jail in Italy somewhere.
Yeah.
What do we? Hugo Lloris is on the verge of retiring. This is a real, I know we say this every year, this is a real pivotal moment in time, isn't it, at Tottenham Hotspur?
Well, put it this way, everything you said, and still people will find a way to go, well, we got to these finals. Look at the stadium. Look at the training ground. Look at the commercial growth. Look at this. Look at that. And I'll be like, yes, but look what those things you've just said. Getting back to the transfer window, mate, I think it's going to be Malinowski and Kulusevski. and that's it. That's it.
You reckon they'll palm Kulu off as one of the signings?
Neglect Defence FC are going to strike again with another window where we're screaming for it, and everyone knows it. Even opposing fans know it. But no, we won't do that. We might chuck in a cheeky contract for Dyer, just because he's fantastic. Obviously, not. Again, I'm sick and tired of going in now. Obviously, my belief, confidence, trust, faith has gone. Every time I hear this is the moment, this is the window, this is the period, this is where. And Savva, you and I know how this goes. We don't need Google Translate or a crystal ball. We've seen it.
I'm waiting for the time where we actually act like a big club. And what will happen is fans will come into people like me and you and go, see, you were wrong after 22 years. You know what I mean? Like, I just, what I want to be able to do as a Spurs fan, as a YouTuber, whatever, right, as a full-time professional Spurs moaner, what I would love to be able to do is just turn around after a transfer window in the summer and go, you know what? Good window, manager's in place, director of football's in place. Right, over to you, manager. Go on then. Go on then. Nothing on you, Levy. You've done your bit. You've done your bit. You've bought those 4 or 5 top players. Right. I would love for it to be that, but there's always something. There's, like I said last night, when Conte wins, he's a tactical genius. When Conte loses, it's Daniel Levy. He's not bought the right players. There's no grey area in the middle with this. It seems to be one or the other. Just quickly before I ask you a question, I mean, look, we've got Foggy Foamer said Spurs are confident in signing someone, monitoring, we're looking at, considering, looking, scouting, looking at FC, we're interested, we're tentatively looking.
No, that's the one. That's another one, Stevie D. That's another one. They're brilliant.
It's it's constantly, and then the big thing for me is all the fans will go bananas again in the next couple of weeks, Brian, because people like Ali Gold and the likes will tell us that we're signing 7 top players and then they won't happen and it will be not our fault. We tried, blah, blah, blah. What needs to happen this window, mate, for you to be happy as a fan? What needs to happen in January?
So first of all, our show will be back on Fridays. It will be, because I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, just so people know, my dad's been in hospital and still is. So since I've been back in England, it's not been able time. But I think what we need to do, Savva, is it's Christmas time with the Advent calendar. With all those things that come in, we should make like a bingo sheet for transfer deadline day.
What, like an Advent calendar?
Yeah, like an Advent, and we'll see how many we can prick during the transfer window, and see we'll try and make this big list. Get loads of people in the comments to put like comments of what it could be, and we'll have the Savva and Bry, Daniel Levy or Tottenham Hotspur transfer excuse bingo, and then we'll start popping them off. But what do I want for this window?
Just off the back of that, Brian, here's what I'll ask then for everyone who's watching now. From now until the end of the January transfer window, anytime you see an article, anything from anyone, Fabrizio Romano, Ali Gold, whoever, Spurs Web this, Spurs that, Spurs, I don't know, all these accounts, please clip it, take a screenshot and send it to me via Instagram or YouTube, or whatever you want to do, send it to me, and then I will create a collage and we'll go through them every Friday, Brian.
Yeah, well, that sounds good to me, but we need to have the word. Hopefully there's a new word, because these buzzwords are just, the buzzwords are brilliant. But what do I want from this window? I'm on a mission at the moment. Every tweet I see where we're not linked with a defender, it comes off a midfielder. I've just writing defenders. We need bloody defenders. Hashtag this club drives me crazy. And he did at Forest, mate. He did at Forest, and I was there. And to tell you the truth, he was man of the match.
Yeah, he was very good.
He was very good. He was very good. So yeah, I just wanted it. I said this. I think I said it on your show as well, Savva. If we just sign. I'm just picking this guy because we've been linked with him for 83 seasons. Skriniar. If we just signed Skriniar this season, this January, I will come on every channel and go, do you know what? Fucking fair play. You spent it, all right. It's not enough play. It's not enough. But you went and spent all the money on a player that's ready to come in.
Yeah.
Not to go out on loan, not to be a club signing, but a guy that can come in right now and say, right, this is what we're doing, and sort this defence out. So I just want defenders. The creative midfielder would be a bonus. The defender, I'm still, Savva, you're old school like me. I'm still under think it was George Graham that said it, or one of our managers that said, if you don't concede, you don't lose. That's simple.
Of course, look, defences win titles. But then let's bring that back then. Let's bring the Paratici back into this. Let's assume Paratici had something lined up for us. A De Vries, a Skriniar.
Yeah.
I don't know, an undercar. I don't know. One of these types of defenders that we all want. Is what's going on with his situation going to derail that? There's
the excuse. And there's the excuse.
Right.
We were looking at these, but Paratici had his mince part. He had his fingers and toes in them. So we need to stay away from these quality players that we were going to get, and we will sign the Angolan 7th Division Player of the Month in defence. And say he's one for the future. No, funny how you've got to think that any link that is with Paratici right now may be under scrutiny. It may not even be, in all honesty, it may not even be Tottenham that say we've got to pull the kibosh on it. It may be FIFA saying, right, any of these deals that are set in stone, you can't, or UEFA,
surely
you can't touch them.
Sure, yeah. Look, this is common sense for all of life, right? Surely, in any walk of life, if you are about to go to court or you're being indicted for something to do with anything, they will stop you doing that thing until you've been cleared. Do you know what I mean? If we're saying that all transfer dealings that Paratici's been involved with are dodgy and this, that, the other, surely the first thing the Italian courts or FIFA or whoever are going to say is, you are not allowed to sign anyone. Right?
Yeah,
stop.
That's it.
Right? The same way that my bank account will be frozen if there was dodgy activity on it, until I can phone the bank and prove, hang on, not me, or
Yeah.
So this then begs the question. What do we then do? Do we then hand over those negotiations to Levy, and Levy continues them, and therefore we don't get them over the line? I mean, it's all a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think there may be the list that Paratici has, and I also think there's a list that Conte has as well, because Conte will have his set players, and not all of them will be on Paratici's list, and vice versa.
Right.
And I think if this happens, then Levy, thanks, Bill, brother. So I think then Levy has to listen to the manager. He may say, right, I want 130 mil for 2 players. Levy may say, okay, I can't give you that. I just can't. I just won't. Or whichever paraphrase. But if there's a defender there, if there's one thing Antonio Conte knows, and through his DNA, through his Italian and the way they play football, is how to scout a defender to play in his formation. You look at what he did at everywhere he goes. You look at those defenses. If there is a defender on Conte's radar and we cannot go for Paratici's, then to show. How would that, if there's a £50 million defender, let's just say 50 or even 40, that Conte wants and is on his list, let's say there's a list.
Yeah.
If he goes out and gets him, does that not say to Conte, right, he backed me there in the hour of need when I needed him?
Yeah,
Daniel Levy's gone through.
Absolutely.
And then here we go.
But look, this is a great point, right? Most of the players we're linked with are always in Italy, right? Can you see Italian clubs doing business with us? Like, for example, I keep being asked the question on my YouTube channel of, Juventus are bankrupt.
I'm with you. I can still hear you.
Yeah, go on. Juventus are bankrupt. Can we go and raid them for all their players? It's like, well, hang on. Juventus are bankrupt. Juventus are in this mess. Most of the mess apparently is being attributed to the bloke who now heads up our transfers. Can anyone really see Spurs and Juventus doing any business this window? And if we do, the world's gone bananas, isn't it? If anyone allowed Spurs and Juventus to do any deals this window, so that counts out Weston McKennie. Anyone who was talking about bloody McKennie or Bremer or Vlahovic and all these players. So what do we do? Because where would Conte want to shop that's not Italy? Do we know?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, the only place that I think Conte wants to shop outside of or Juve, Paratici wants Juve, and obviously I think Conte wants Inter, doesn't he? where thankfully there is no kind of connection like this. Inter maybe, but yeah, you literally, if any deals start going through, and you now got to look at it and think how much of a steal we got Bentancur and Kulusevski for. I mean
Yeah, it's
that the
not
money,
right. It's not right.
you know what I mean? Like if someone has said to you that we paid, I think it was 19 million for Bentancur,
Yeah.
19 million. We
Yeah,
paid more. We paid more for David Bentley. Well, sorry, no, I think we paid a million less. A million less for Bentley.
we paid 30 million for bloody Emerson Royale.
Yeah, there you go. So we got, yeah, there we go. We got. I'm just trying to think of midfield. Look at Lo Celso, 40 odd million. Look at if someone had said to you Bentancur's a 19 million pound signing right now, you'd have been shut up. Was he in the last year of his contract or whatever? And Kulusevski, I mean that. So right now you got to think that stinks to high heaven already.
Well,
It's
if you look at most of the transfers we've done, right? If you look since Paratici's been here, how many have been straight up cash? Now, before anyone gets all technical, you know what I mean. How many have been we're buying him straight away? Blah, blah.
yeah.
You've got the free transfers, right? With you've got a loan with Longley. You've got a free transfer for Perisic and Forster. You've got a Doji, which is a kind of buy now, pay a bit now,
Yeah.
go on loan, come back later. There's 5, right? You've then got Bentancur. Actually, no, not Bentancur. You've got Kulusevski, who was have on loan for 18 months.
You can add Romero to that as well.
And then get him. Then Romero. Right?
Galini.
You've got Galini, who was on loan. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this guy.
Mate, look at the players that went out. We've only got money for Bergwijn. All right, that's because the rest was shit and we got bought badly and we can't even sell them for a fiver. It's like, no, go out on loan. We won't give you a fiver. It don't look good. It don't look good. I mean, I know I haven't seen them all, but I know Sean Butler's really dived into this on his channel. He's really dived into it on his Great Tottenham Walks. He's really dived into them. I haven't had a chance to listen to him. But one thing I will say, when it comes to this side of football, he's a wealth of knowledge. He is like me, me and you, we are what we are. And me and Sean have gone for each other. All in love.
Really good blokes is what we are, Brian. Really good.
Well, speak for yourself. I don't know what to say about me, mate. Feel like a back end of a bus. But like I said, you and me talk about the. I'm just lucky I'm married, so I can say this shit. Man. I don't need to go out in the pool anymore. Like I said, when it comes to that aspect, Sean's a wealth. You and me speak obviously passionately about the football inside and what we expect on the pitch. We have a bit of knowledge about the finances, not to the extreme that Sean does. But this all starts stacking up, doesn't it? It all starts stacking up to have a huge impact on what we all love. And the main reason we support or watch football is for what goes on that bloody football pitch.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Look, I never pretend that I know the ins and outs of everything. I like to think I've got enough knowledge to get by, but something doesn't look right, does it? I mean, like you said, could it have just been brilliant that we managed to get Kulusevski and Bentancur relatively cheap? And, a player like how often does a player as good as Kulusevski go to another club on loan? Can you think of many that are that good that they go, go out on loan? Like,
look at this way, Savva. The easiest way to look at it is him and Brian Hill are the same age. We paid 25 mil in Lamella for one. We got another on an 18-month loan with an obligation to buy if they play a certain amount of games or qualify for Champions League. And it's a ridiculously cheap price for what he is.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It just
so happens to be the club he used to run.
Yeah, something just doesn't seem right. And look again. Look, this could just be. It's paranoia, right? It's now we're all brilliant at this, aren't we? We're brilliant at seeing something happen and then going, oh, well, that must mean X, Y, Z. We don't know that for sure, but there's a lot of smoke here. There's a lot of smoke with Paratici. And as I said, in 6 months' time, we're either going to be sitting in a wonderful position or I'm really ready to kick on. As we've been ready to kick on for about 20 years. Or we're going to be sitting in a position where we need a new manager, a new director of football, Players like Romero going, hang on, I want to leave. Kane not wanting to
Yep.
sign a contract. Hong-Min
Yep.
Son wanting to leave. I don't know. Like it's a strange time, but the problem we've got is we've been told that the reason we didn't buy centre backs was that the main centre backs that Conte wanted was Bastoni and Skriniar, right?
Yep.
Now, what does this then mean for Conte from that perspective? That if we have, like everyone said, held out because we want these two players, and then we're not allowed to go and do any transfers in Italy for a while or whatever it may be, what does that then do? Does he have backups? Do we look in England? Do we have to pay a premium for that?
I think what you've got to look at that as well. You can add Gvardiol to that list as well, but you've got to remember, not only what do we do for Conte, you've got to remember how does this look on Levy when he said this was a stopgap so we can pursue a Bastoni, a Skriniar, a Gvardiol, and then next summer, if we end up with none of them and they're all at different clubs.
Yeah.
And it was like, so then what was the point of Longley in for the stopgap when you're not going to, that's another one you can put, pursue. That's another buzzword we can put into that little collage. That's another issue we have. It really is another issue. It's not just what does this leave Conte? We were told, or we were led to believe, should we say, that Longley came in because the targets we've identified as the number one for that position weren't available. So rather than going and spunking the money elsewhere, like Liverpool did with Van Dijk, because with Liverpool and Van Dijk, when that didn't go through in the summer, Liverpool offered Klopp other players, and he said, nope, no, I'll wait till January, get me him then. And then obviously we all know January, bang, bish, bash, and we know the outcome. Now that's what Liverpool did. But if we go if we start off in August and Longley's gone, and Davies is our number one left centre back again, and we haven't strengthened considerably in that area, what kind of clout or weight does that put on? Well, wait a minute. You said this is what we're doing.
I mean, just before I carry on from that, I'm going to go for 10 more minutes until 2 o'clock when I've got a meeting. Everybody, there's 115 of you in the chat. I wasn't expecting that many for an impromptu chat, but only 30 likes. Smash that like button, people. It's free. You just have to click. And please, please, please subscribe if you haven't, and also subscribe to Tottenham on Tour with Mr. Brian Daigle. I lost 2 subscribers overnight. It wasn't very nice, was it? It hurt my feelings a little bit, Brian.
Mate.
I know. The big thing for me with this whole waiting, and I've said this for months, there's so much that happens. We can turn around and go, we're not buying this player because we want to wait for this player to be available.
Yeah.
The problem with that is lots happens. Either we don't qualify for the Champions League again, and so-called player now isn't interested.
Yeah.
So-called player breaks their leg. Right.
Yep.
So-called player gets a better offer from bigger club.
Yep.
That's why I found this whole thing really, really dangerous. I think it's a really dangerous game to play because there's no guarantee you're going to get those players, is there?
No. You look at these. I mean, we've got ourselves back into the top 4, and now the main aim for me is not so much just winning the chat, or not that we're going to win it, but trying to get to the Champions League final. It's keeping ourselves there for like we did under Poch, staying there and qualifying regularly and establishing ourselves as a regular in the Champions League again. Because then you get players going, okay, they're there regularly. We like you said, we could easily drop out, especially if United and Liverpool get their sales, especially if Newcastle open the cash book, especially if Chelsea go for it again in January. We could be through all 4 of our own out of it, and then that could detract players. But like you said, we go through this cycle. Like you said, we've been waiting. When you said months, years, decades, whichever one you want to use, this is the scenario we're in. This is we've tried to establish ourselves as a big club, and to us, we call ourselves a big club because we're Tottenham Hotspur, and by history and by whatever we are. But in modern times, right now, teams are passing us.
Yeah,
teams are passing us, and right now we're seeing that, especially with Man U and United up to Sal, up for sale, we could be in there. We could be in their rearview mirror, literally like a speck in their rearview mirror, and this is problems.
Well, the thing is, it's like you said. Look, you've got the two powerhouses in this country for the last decade have been Chelsea and Man City, right?
Yeah.
And between them, they just keep winning things for fun. Yeah, Chelsea have a little dip every now and then, but their financial clout means that they'll always be back. They're having a dip at the moment, but they've now gone and bought Nkunku. They're probably going to buy Vardiol. They're getting the technical.
But you can't do that. You can't do that in November or December, can you? You can't. No clubs really do big moves or no bollocks.
Exactly. So it's the thing for me is you've got those two to compete with, and for years it's been, oh, well, how do you compete with them? Right.
Yep.
The problem is as well, as you've said, you've got Liverpool and Man United up for sale. Now, I'm not naive enough to suggest that going up for sale automatically means that the new owners that come in are going to be absolutely amazing and spend loads of money. But these clubs, they won't allow new owners to come in and not do that, because those clubs they'll have them out. If they come in 2 years and ruin the club, they will be gone, right? Now chuck into that, Arsenal seem to be flexing a little bit of financial muscle in the last few years, right? Now chuck into that that little club up north, Newcastle, who are, even without spending a lot of money, when I say a lot, I mean like kind of the billionaire money we were expecting, have done a wonderful job building a nice little squad there, got a manager that's got them really playing nice football. So Spurs, for me, are at a position, Brian, where if it's not now, we're going to be so far left behind if the owners do not up and sell this club.
Yeah. I mean,
truly believe that.
I think, do you know what as well? I think a lot that's happening as well with United and Liverpool up for sale. We'll do, Eugene. We'll do, brother. But yeah, I think with them up for sale, should these sales go through, I think you're going to have a lot of Tottenham fans say, right, that's it. I backed them. And it's not through they're losing backing of Daniel Levy. They're going to be like, we cannot compete. It's fairly obvious. A lot of people will say, and like I said, I never get personal with people. And if people want to be pro Levy, that is down to them. If they were to say, oh, they give me some wonderful moments, they got me to a Champions League final, they gave me this stadium, they gave me this training ground, they gave me these wonderful moments. But fair play to them. Fair play to them. If that's what they seek in football, then that's that. Who am I to say otherwise? But I think you're going to have a lot of fans say, right, that's it. We had our moment to strike. We had our moment to go forward so many times and missed it. Well, now with these two behemoths, let's face it, behemoths of clubs. Yeah. If they get bought out, but I've also seen as well with this Gvardiol link that came out, I've seen about 60 to 100 people say, right, that's it. The straw that broke the camel's back moment. This ain't. I can't do this no more. Thank you, Enoch out. So I think people are now. Whereas you and me are there, and people are like, oh, I don't know. I think these sales and losing these players, I think they're being pushed to Levy out rather than jumping, if you know what I mean. It's becoming.
The thing is as well that we have to look at is we've had the opportunity over the last 10 years. We've had opportunities to kick on. I don't, we keep using these phrases: push on, kick on. Now's the right time. The iron is hot. Blah blah blah. All of that stuff. Now there's so many other clubs up there doing it. The worry for me is we've had this period where we've had great players in this period. We've had Kane and Son at their peak. We had the Alderweirelds, the Vertonghen's, the Walkers, the Roses, the Dembélés, the Wanyot, Ericssons, Ali. And we didn't do anything when we had that. My worry now is that most of that list I've just named has gone.
Yep.
The two main ones in Kane and Son are getting older. One hasn't signed a new contract. The other one, I'm pretty sure if Conte and Kane was to go, would quickly be handing in a transfer request as well. That's my worry, is that then means we need a huge build. I'm not going to call it a rebuild because you rebuild from something that worked. We then need a huge build, which doesn't include Kane and Son. Romero will have wanted to go, could have said this. this 6 months for me is massive. This next 6 months and what we do in the summer is huge.
So Savva, the thing you've said there, if you look at it, and this is how sad things have become. We're looking at an era right now where Kane's getting older, Son is getting older, Lloris is at the end. Let's face it. Sure. So you're talking about potentially 3 players that are on the way out within the next few seasons, and they're still the mainstay of our squad from Pochettino. Right. And you can even go AVB with Lloris. Then you're losing those 3 players. Then you have to replace them. Now, to replace them, when you're trying to replace a Kane, everyone in the world is knowing you're trying to replace the greatest striker, especially in England, if not Europe, if not the world, but one of the most elite. Yeah. Any striker you're going for, there's an extra 20. But I must admit, Savva, actually, I've been meaning to talk about this. The bit and I'll go on to the others at the moment. When you did that bit about Richarlison and saying, was that bought for should Kane go? So then we can focus on I hadn't looked at that. I meant to message you. I was listening to that. And I think what you said there is absolute genius. Not saying I'm not saying that the idea from Tottenham is genius. I'm saying what you said.
Listen, I just looked at it a different way, because the way I see it is this: when Kane goes, right, and touch wood, it's not soon, but it could be soon, right? When Kane goes, it doesn't matter if we get 50 million. It doesn't matter if we get 500 million for him. It doesn't matter. And the reason I say that is the player we will be able to buy to backfill Harry Kane will not be as good as Harry Kane, because anyone as good as Harry Kane or better than Harry Kane, quite simply, is not joining Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, completely right.
The forwards in the world that will score goals for fun. Erling Haaland's at Man City, right? Lewandowski's at Barcelona.
And on the way out,
Karim Benzema's at Real Madrid, right? Lautaro Martinez, who is probably the next level down from them, but is at Inter Milan and winning things, right? Kylian Mbappe at PSG, right? Who is there?
You look
when
at
you lose Kane, who are you? And you also lose a 25 goal a season man, and that's me being 25 to 35 goals a year in all competitions. You also lose your playmaker.
Correct. Like I said, that's the time we're in. Then you've got to replace Lloris, and everyone knows when you lose your keeper, listen, it doesn't matter. We need to sign not a ready for the future. This I always believe. I don't know if other people are saying that signing the goalkeeper is the most important position. You just have to get right. You have to get it right, because there's no one else to back you up. Like if you buy a striker, like we bought Janssen, whatever. He doesn't cut the mustard. You've got a Kane. There's someone else that can pick up the slack. Midfielders, defenders, goalkeepers. You're on your top. Then you look at Son. So you're looking at if people to say who are the 3 most established or the 3 most prominent Spurs players in recent history, you're going to say those 3 immediately off the bat.
Of course,
you're going to need to replace those 3 within quite quick succession, I would say, within footballing terms. Then, like you said, so that's 3 players that you're looking at. You're going to have to spend upwards of 80 million, at least on Son and Kane's replacement. 80 million. You're looking at, like, obviously Alisson's, and I don't know if there's a goalkeeper apart from Donnarumma who ain't leaving PSG. I've said Jordan Henderson. Obviously, he ain't going to cost that nowhere near that amount of money. But then you look at, like you said, well, if them 3 go, other players are going to be like, well, what the fuck am I here for? Because you're not getting said players you said.
Absolutely. This is the thing. Spurs fans, though, Brian, we're very, very, and I don't mind calling fans out, not individuals, but as a fan base, we are so sentimental, right? That throughout the years, if ever it is suggested that a top player moves on to free up capital to go and buy 2 players, oh my, no, you can't lose him, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. Chelsea, Man United, City, Liverpool, these clubs lose players time and time again, and they go, okay, cool, we'll go and buy someone else. We'll go and do this. We'll go and do that. Right? Spurs don't do that. Now we're in a position, as you said, where it could be in the next 3 years, 3 seasons in a row, we could be replacing this year Kane, next year Lloris, the year after Son.
Yep.
And those players
will take up all our capital.
they take all your capital, but they don't grow on trees. And at the moment, you've got so many bigger clubs than us. Why would those players at Son and Kane's level that they're at now, why would they join us now? Right? That's my problem. And that was the problem, was when you had Kane and Son in their peak, build around them. Build around them to create a winning team that when they move on, someone else comes into a winning team.
Well, the way you've got to look at this as well, Savva, when you do this, is a lot of players want to come to play with these players. That's a huge appeal to them. Oh my God, I'm going to be playing with Kane. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing with that. But also, what we've had to capitalise on, we haven't. When you have someone like Jose Mourinho, who any player will come and play for, because they know what it means, or an Antonio Conte, they know what it resembles, you have to cash in on that. That's one of the main appeals of having this manager, because if you're going toe-to-toe with someone, let's face it, let's say Newcastle. Yes, Newcastle could offer the money, but you put Eddie Howe and Antonio Conte in a head-to-head, surely only one manager should win. Go, right, who do I want to play for?
Yeah.
In all honesty, if you look at it, but we're going to miss out on that. And then this is the problem. What's going to happen now is the only players you're going to get coming in once they've gone are the ones that go, do you know what? You're going to take over the mantle. You're going to be our next Harry Kane. You're going to be our next Heung-min Son.
Yeah.
But not that those players might come, but you're not going to. They're not going to be the quality to get going immediately.
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be, all right, we're going to have to replace a Kane with a Tony. And no disrespect to him. Very good striker, but let's be fair. The difference is Harry Kane is not just a good goal scorer. Harry Kane's all-round game, it can't be replaced. Let's use Vardy as an example of.
Well, before you say that, Savva, I just want to use, because Dusseldorf, which is a wicked name, and he's a wicked supporter of all the channels, so big up to them. They said it as well about Tony. But what you got to remember as well, we're talking about Paratici in his dealing. Look at Tony and what's going on in his back end right now. No one's going to like what happened with Basuma and all these other transfers. Now his career, and now if you buy him, he as much as I would love Ivan Toney, I think he would be brilliant.
Buying Tony this window would be the biggest bit of irony I think I've ever seen in football. But look, let's. I want to use Vardy out, right?
Yeah.
Right. Just quickly, Pyrex, when he's saying why would Kane leave? Look, I'm not saying he is. Pyrex, whenever we have these conversations, it's all if, buts, and maybes. All we're saying is the conversation we're having now, Tottenham are having right now behind the doors, because Harry Kane, they've got a decision to make. If Harry Kane doesn't sign a contract this summer, they need to decide, do we keep him for one more year and get all his goals? Or do we sell him now and make some money on him? Right? That's not me and Bright. That's a very realistic chat that Spurs are having at the moment, mate. So it's all.
Yeah, I want to add to this as well, but sorry, you got to remember, he wanted to leave Tottenham. He wanted Manchester City. And what you got to remember, I agree with you. I mean, for me, if I ever play for Tottenham Hotspur, the only way you get me out of Tottenham Hotspur is if you sell me. Or my contract runs out. I would never leave him. But what you got to look at with Harry Kane now, he's got all the personal accolades. And if you look at all the great strikers in the Premier League, Alan Shearer, Premier League medal. Michael Owen, Premier League medal. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Premier League medal. Thierry Henry. You could go through them. There comes a point where he wants to look back in his career and say to his kids, listen, he's going to go down in history regardless. He's going to go down as Tottenham's all-time scorer, England's all-time scorer. He's going to have a load of personal accolades. They go, but what did you win as a team? And he'll go, you see this nothingness? All of this. And I think at his stage of his career, this contract that he's got coming up, what you got to remember as well with it, Pyrex, is he's been told by Tottenham every time, we're going to strengthen, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but you need to do this for us. He hits his targets every single time. Every single time. And he's been in the Premier League now for about 10 years and delivered for 10 years. All right, the season with Man City, it took him a while to kick in, but then once he got going, but there has to come a point, especially with the last year in his contract, right now at his age, where you're like, do you know what? I'm at a real crossroads now. It's heart over head. And it's whether he wants that accolade personally.
Let's be fair.
Team-wise.
Let's be fair as well, Brian. I'm going to wrap up in a minute, but let's be fair. Okay. If Harry Kane left Tottenham now and went to another club to win things, no one could say that his time at Spurs was tarnished. He's given us a decade.
Yep.
He's scored over 300 goals for the club. You know, for me, I think he single-handedly made a lot of managers look better than they are.
Yep.
That's my opinion. I think a lot of what we've done the last 7-8 years, people talk about great man. I think it's been Kane, if I'm really, really honest. So, just quickly, last point. I want to move on just for the last minute.
Yep.
Going back to the transfer market, when you look at the state of play in the transfer market, you look at Vardiol. Let's use him as an example. Vardiol in this market will be 80 million, right?
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't, even if he was 50 million, right? You're telling me if he becomes available, Spurs is going to be his choice. You're telling me that, first of all, the 4 or 5 clubs we mentioned in England won't want him. Then Bayern Munich won't want him. Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, right? For me, I can't see that players like that are going to choose Spurs. All the while, these other clubs are turning into or are behemoths.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, you got to look at it as well. You don't know. We're going into these windows yet, and whilst Conte's signature isn't on that paper, because you got to look at it as well. We talk about Kane and when he goes, when anyone we get as a downgrade, the second Conte walks out that door, any manager we get as a downgrade, any manager whatsoever, whether you, and I'm not talking about his style of play, I'm talking about what he's won, what he's done.
Of course.
But
the thing is, I listen. This has been. I'll wrap up. This has been my whole thing with Conte. Listen, I've always said I don't like his style of play, but right, I park that to the side if Spurs back him, and by backing him, I'm not talking about Jed Spence's and Longlay's on loan and 33-year-old Perisic's. I'm talking about you back him, you give him his Skriniar, his De Vrij, yeah, you give him his, whoever he wants at right wing back. And then as a fan, I have to shut up and go, I don't like the style, but he's going to win you stuff.
Yep.
So for me, you either do all of that or you don't have Conte. It just feels like it's a marriage that is not going to work. And this is why I've seen a lot of channels that call me out saying, oh, Savva wants Conte out. I don't think they ever listen to what I actually say about it. I'm all for Conte staying, but if he's not going to be backed, which our man Levy's not going to do through his track record and history, I don't see the point in him being here. That's all I'm saying. I think Antonio Conte is the perfect manager. I said last night for an Atletico Madrid job. Yeah. For a PSG job. I think he's perfect for those sort of clubs. I don't know if he's perfect for a club that are having to build and compete against the likes of City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, and now Newcastle. That I just don't know if he's the right man for that.
Also, with Pyrex saying about Shearer's record, listen, he could do that at another Premier League club.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to do it at Tottenham. Shearer did it at Blackburn, at Newcastle. So I'm not saying he is leaving, but do I think there could be a potential of him leaving? Yeah, I think there could. And like Savva said, I would applaud him off if he went. Great service. Thank you for what you did. But like you were saying, mate, when it comes to the management, that's the thing. If you look at it, the like an Atletico Madrid, they've spent 100 million on João Felix. PSG, we know what they do. They will say, right, we brought you in here because you win us trophies. PSG, I don't know so much because obviously they haven't won the Champions League, and for them it's the Holy Grail, and we know Conte's record. But these managers come in and go, right, what do you need? We will do what you need. And listen, there's nothing more. I've said it. There's nothing more I'd love to do than go on We Are Tottenham TV, Tottenham on Tour, Savva Talks Football, every channel you can imagine. Go, do you know what? Well done, Mr. Won't say his name because it'll get clipped that I clapped him and said, well done, Mr. Him. You've done well. You've done a good window. Now keep it up. There's nothing more in my entire existence of YouTube and beyond or before that I've wanted to do to say, do you know what? Fair play. Do you know what? He done well. But that's what we're waiting for. And I don't think with Antonio Conte, like you said, Savva, wrapping up, these two windows, these are the ones that matter, especially now with what we started to.
They always are.
Well, now with Paratici, it's taken on another. How vital is this, or how active will we be? And I can see the excuse already. Oh, we couldn't be active in January because Paratici was getting done, so we didn't have anyone to do the dealing. It's like, well, no, you had the football manager.
Yeah.
You had the football manager.
You've got the owner, the manager, chief scouts, all this kind of
stuff. Exactly.
Let me just quickly thank you very much, Foggy Phone, for the super chat. He said Jimenez is a player's compliment. Conte and Bentancur. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jimenez as well. Definitely would sign him. Thank you very much for the super chat. Please, everybody, smash that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hoping to get another 5 subscribers today. So if anyone in here hasn't, please do. Just to quickly round things off. Again, when you're saying Harry Kane will never leave Spurs, he said Tottenham, he never to him. Again, Brian explained he wanted to leave last year, so don't rule it out. But we're not saying he's definitely leaving. Dunkel's Dork said, glad you cleared that out, Savva. I think I understand your point of view a little more. Look, all I'm saying is, yes, I did a video once when I was really annoyed with Conte because we were crap, and I turned around and said, get him out, blah, blah, blah. That has now stuck, right? My point from a more liberal point of view, and as anyone who works with me on YouTube, anyone who actually listens to what I say will tell you, I don't have an issue with Antonio Conte as a person. I don't like his style of play, but I also acknowledge what the man has done within the footballing world. My point is this: I don't see us winning anything anytime soon. Right? I've made peace with that. In my own mind, I've made peace with that we aren't winning anything soon, and we haven't for years. So I would at least like to see us try and play some football if we're not going to be winning anything. Yep. So for me, as I said just now to Brian, I don't see the point in Antonio Conte being here if he's not going to be backed. And I don't mean backed with cheap frees and loans. I mean backed. So as Brian said, if they went out this window and went, Skriniar's you're signing this window, you go, okay, all right. Then the next window you go, all right, Barella's you're signing. You go, okay, right. That's what I want to see. So just to clear up with the whole, I'm not Conte out mob as I've been referred to, and that I just don't see the point in him being here. Listen, Brian, I am going to wrap up.
No worries, brother.
Are we Fridaying?
All depending on Dad. But there's a very, very at the moment. I want to say yes because we kind of got a rota at the moment, and I'm not down for Friday. In our time slot conveniently, it's 4 o'clock. We do, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, look,
yeah. So yeah, as we speak right now, yes, we're on for Fridaying.
No worries. If not, we can make it earlier if you need to. It's not a problem. Listen.
Okay. So wait. So Friday, you're free.
Friday, we could do 2 o'clock. We could do midday.
Okay. So we'll definitely go Friday. It's just time dependent.
Perfect. All right. Well, listen. Everybody, thank you very much for joining. I normally just do a 10-minute daily thought. I've started doing a few lives when I'm working from home. Much better. Thank you, Brian, for joining. As always, we all want what's best for Spurs. There's no point falling out over it. It is just all different ways of how we get there. So much love and see you later. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Leave you out.